So in the last video, we discussed about what is actually Python programming, how we can install it, and some major topics or some major features of Python programming. In this lecture or in this video, we are going to understand what are the basic things about Python again, how we can store the value, what is actually variable, what is constant and all. Also, after that, we're starting with the main programming part, and that is for that we are going to use our ideally for that. Okay. As of now, we have only create a first program to print our name in the output screen, and that too in command prompt. No, so we will discuss it later. Okay, the programming part. But first of all, the main thing to understand some more basics of Python programming, and that is, or any programming language. Actually, it is common for any programming language we have. So first of all, we have constants. So just pause the video and understand. Just remember the thing. What is actually you know about constants? Okay. Now, so what is constant? Constant is just a fixed value. Okay. So let me give you the example, or let me give you the definition for that. So constants are the fixed values such as letters, numbers, and strings are called constants because their values does not change. Okay. So anything whose values does not change, that is called constants or the fixed values. Okay. Like suppose my name is Malika. Okay. And that is a fixed value. Or suppose if I'm using here numbers, like if I'm talking about 26. So 26 always remains 26. It will not become 27 by any case. No? So 26 is a constant value. Same way, if I'm using here A is equal to ABC. So ABC is a constant value. We can't change any string value. Okay? Now, so anything which is a constant value, anything which is fixed, that is called constant. So it's like some numerical value, some string value. In Python, anything you are writing in between single, double, or triple quote, that is called string. So any string value is also kind of constants. And you can see here, these things are called float values and all these are called constants because these are not changeable or these are fixed values. Same way we have variable. Again, just try to pause and what is, or just remember it, what do you mean by variable? Okay, so I hope you already remember the thing, and that is a variable is just the opposite of constant. Is like if constant is a fixed value, that means variable is not a fixed value. Every time when the value changes its value is called variable. Like variables are those where we can store different kind of data. Okay, so a variable is a kind of container. It's like suppose if I have some rice or I have sugar, that is an object. Okay, we can't change sugar into salt and all, so that is a fixed value, but I want to store in somewhere. Okay, so I have a jar here. Okay, and I want to store it here. Okay, so I want to store this sugar in this jar. So this jar is nothing but a variable. A variable is a place where we can store different types of data or the object. Okay, so here in this case, sugar is an object which you want to store in this container, which is called variable. Now, the next thing is, now suppose if you have salt here. Okay, so now I want to store salt in this container and I have only one container, suppose. So for that, I need to remove all the sugar from this container, and then only we can put salt in this particular container. That is the only way. Okay, so that means the value in this variable or in this container can be changeable. So if you want, you can store sugar, and then if you want to store salt, you can store salt as well. Okay, so these are changeable, but you can't convert sugar into salt into sugar. Okay, these are constants. Same way, suppose if I'm using here, see, suppose in A, I have 25. So 25 is an integer value. It is a fixed value. We can't change 25 to 26 or 28 or 29. Okay. But A is a it acts like a container where you are storing this 25. So this A is a container where you are storing 25. Now, again in A, I'm storing 2 only. So in this case, inside this A, now we just have to, it overwrites the value. Okay. So the value of A is changeable. Okay. This is called variable, and a variable is a place where you can store the value also. Now, we have different properties also in variables. Let's talk about that. So, variables are changeable. You can change the values directly. Variables can be used more than once also. Like in A, now we have 2. Again, in A, you can store 4. So, these can be used more than one time also. Okay. Now, one more thing which is a very important concept in any programming language is called naming convention. Like, suppose if I want to create a name for my variable, like A, B, or C kind of thing, or for any function or for any class, anytime if you want to put a name for a thing in Python or in programming language, we need a naming convention for that. We can't put any name for anyone. Okay, just like in our real world. In our real world, suppose we have different religions are there. Okay, and our name is, in most of the cases, our name belongs to our religion. It influenced with our religion. Okay. So or maybe in which it depends on which region you are, and in which country you are. So it depends on that particular thing also. Now, the next thing is, suppose if I'm taking the example over here, in my region. So I'm currently in Delhi. So in this case, suppose if I'm talking about the name for any person, in most of the cases, suppose the name is, suppose my sibling name is Neha, or my brother name is Rahul. So in this case, you can see these are some general names. Okay, we can't put my brother's name as 1 2 3 4 5 6 84. We can't put the name as a numerical value. We can put a logical name which contains some meaning over there. Okay. So this is how it looks like. Same way in programming language also, we have some, if you want to put some name, so we have some convention over there. The first convention is name can't start with number. If you're putting any variable name, you can't start with a number. Then name can't contain a special character but can use underscore. Okay, that means if you are putting name for a variable or for a class or a function, in this case you cannot use any special character like dollar or hash kind of thing, any special type of character, but you can use underscore. Okay, so these are the things which we need to follow if you are putting name. It is a naming convention in Python. Let's see some of the examples. The first example is, just let me know or just understand this thing. According to you, is this a valid variable name or not? Okay, is this valid variable name or not? You have this convention. Just understand whether this variable name is following all these things or not, following all these convention or not. So let's see. This starting from one by one. Okay. So name can't start with number. Yes, it is not starting with the number. Correct. Name can't contain a special character but can use underscore. But it includes hyphen in it. And hyphen is a special character. It is not an underscore. So this is not followed. And that is why it is an invalid variable name. It is not following the naming convention. Okay. Let's understand some more. What about this one? So can't start with number, correct. Not any special character except underscore. So yes, it is a valid variable name. This one, valid. Not valid because it starts with a number. At symbol, so not valid because of some special character. Valid. Not valid because of this at symbol, which is a special character. Not valid because of this hyphen, it is a special character. Not valid because of the hyphen. Okay. So these are some of the example of which is not following or following naming convention in Python. Okay. Now, then we have different types of data. But before that, let's understand all these things in our programming part. So let's go over there. Let me just end this show and let's understand how actually we can start doing the programming part, which is the most interesting part of this course. So every time, like in the last class, we discussed the programming on the command prompt. Let me open it again. So just type here CMD, write Python. It will show you the current version. The next thing is, suppose I want to print my name. So what exactly we need to do here is, I can just say, I want to print my name. So print Malika. And then you can see the output. But I want to do all these things in my, there is a problem in this command prompt, no? And that is, suppose if I'm writing here, I want to write some more thing. I want to print someone other's name also. In this case, you can see I'm getting some error because of this not pair of, I'm not using the pair of the inverted. And because of that, I'm unable to edit it. See, because this is an error. Okay. So in command prompt, if you are getting any error, it is not a editable code. We need to write it again. Okay. Then only we can execute it. So it is not possible for any programmer that it will not get any kind of error. So that is why we are going to use the IDE over there. IDE is a place where we can read, write, debug, and get the output in the output screen. Okay, in the same environment. So let's see how we can use the IDE, IDLE, which is basically Integrated Development Learning Environment, which is the IDE of Python programming itself. So let me just close it. Let's open our IDE. For that, in the search box, you just need to type here I, D, L, and E. Okay, you can see I have multiple versions. So I'm getting here multiple version IDE. Okay, you can use any of them. I'm using here 3.10. You can use any of them. It's totally up to you. So this is how it looks like. It is called Python shell. Okay. And here it is exactly like command prompt. So if you want here also, you can't edit the code. So let me just print my name here again. I'm getting the output. But if I'm getting the error again, you can see again I'm unable to edit it. We need to write the whole code once again. So what we can do here, this is again of no use. So basically we can do here a kind of, we can start with a module. Okay. If you want to do programming in Python, you can work with a Python module here. Let's see how we can run this. So first of all, here you can see the file menu. Click on it and click on new file, which is, this is basically the Python module or the Python file. Okay, first of all, we need to save the file. I'm going to create a new folder here. Okay, let me create it over here in my D drive. Okay, and that too for Python. Let's double click on it, and here I want to store the file. So let's see. So save as in D drive. In D drive, I need it for that new, yes, this one, Python and first file, no? So first, okay? And that is the Python file, save. Okay, you can see here, we are getting this Python file over here, and you can see the icon also. Now, the next thing is, let's see the, let's do some programming here. Again, I'm going to write my name here. So print, again, you can format it also. If it looks very small, we can format it. Just go to the options, configure ideally, increase the size. apply and okay. I think it's bigger now. Okay, if you want in your ideally you can increase and decrease whatever you want to do. I want to write my first name here. To run this code, what we can do here is just click on run, or you can just click on F5 also. Run module and okay, and you can see the output screen. You will get the output in the output screen, which is called. Now, the next thing is, again, suppose if I want to edit this code, it is totally, you can edit everything from here. Okay, run this code and you can see the output screen. Now we have call here. Okay, so it is totally editable. You can edit the code according to your need. Okay, so I'm writing here my code, my Python code. Okay, let's run this code and get the output. Okay, so now the next thing is here you can edit the code also. Let's understand some more thing in programming, some basics of programming here. So here I'm using a is equal to 2 and I want to print the value of a. So I can directly say print a. Okay, let's run this code. Okay, and you can see the output screen 2.